Greetings, my friends, patriots, lovers of democracy, truth, and justice, believers in peace, freedom, and the American way. Thom Hartmann here with you. It is more or less Anything Goes Friday. In our second hour today, Matt Taibbi is going to drop by at the top of the hour, and the United States Secretary of Labor, Tom Perez, is going to drop by at the bottom of the hour. It should be interesting. The new jobs figures are out. Looks good, 5.8% unemployment. More consequentially, the labor participation rate is starting to go up, which is, it all looks good for the economy. Notwithstanding my perennial warnings and concerns about how this economy moves forward. But, at a certain point, pent-up demand reaches the point where it's like, and actually I would say that probably the main thing that's going on and that will happen over the next who knows how many months is that the Saudis decided enough already of this American frackers getting in on the cheap oil business or on the expensive, $100 barrel oil. Fracking is a very expensive process. This was the point that Dick Cheney made back when he made that famous statement, Iraq's got 10% of the world's oil, very significant oil reserves, second only to Saudi Arabia. Dick Cheney said that back in 2001. And he was right. And you have to understand these different kinds of oil. So you've got, in Iraq, it was what's called virgin oil. And in other words, the oil wells had never been drilled into. They'd only been discovered by, seismic measurement and whatnot. And when you drill into wells like this, you get the Jed Clampett effect. You get gushers. The oil is under pressure. It comes up out of the ground through the oil wells without any effort. And so that oil costs you maybe $5 or $10 a barrel to produce. So when you sell that oil for $100 a barrel, it's mind-bogglingly profitable. Now, Saudi oil, their wells are a little less than half drained. So they're having to suck on the straw, right? Which means that they've got to suck on the straw with giant electric pumps or diesel fuel-driven pumps that are pumping this stuff out. So Saudi oil costs $15, $20, $25, $30, in some cases as much as $40 or $50 a barrel to extract. But at $100 a barrel, they can make money. Even at $70 a barrel, they can make money. And then you look at fracking. Fracking can cost $80 a barrel. Fracking is very expensive. But when oil is $100 a barrel, hey, $20 a barrel, we'll pull out 1 million barrels, we'll make some money. So the Saudis looked at this and they said, the world is awash in oil right now because the United States, they're fracking like crazy. The United States is now the second largest oil exporter on the planet, fixing to be number one, and we're not importing the kind of Saudi oil we used to. So they said, screw that. We're going to dump all this oil onto the markets and drive the price down. And they drove the price down to like $70. Their goal is to put American frackers out of business, or at least cause them to at least slow down the momentum, which they've accomplished. Fracking operations around the United States right now are kind of teetering. Now, there are some that are discovering, roughly the equivalent of virgin crude. We're fracking it out like the Bakken oil shale field in North Dakota, where fracking it out is still only costing $20, $30 a barrel, and they can pump lots and lots of that. So anyhow, that's going on, and what that's doing, in addition to, the Saudis are doing this. They don't care about the U.S. domestic economy. They care about competition, right? But by doing this, by driving the price of oil down to $70 a barrel, they're driving the price of gasoline down below $3 a gallon, which means that for working people in the United States who are the real job creators, the bottom half of the job market, people making less than $25,000 a year, they are the job creators because they spend the money that creates what's called aggregate demand. They spend the money that creates demand in the economy, and that's 70% of our economy is, consumers buying things, and now they've got an extra $30 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month, depending on how much they spend on gasoline. And so the Saudis driving down the price of oil stimulates the economy. Now, you can look at this all the way back to the 60s. Look at when Jimmy Carter inherited this inflation, it was the consequence of the economy being whacked. What whacked the economy? The Arab oil embargo. When the price of oil goes up, the economy goes in the tank. When the price of oil goes down, the economy booms. Why? Because gasoline is cheaper and average consumers have a little extra money in their pocket, and they'll take that money to the store and buy something that they wouldn't have otherwise bought. Because at the bottom half of the labor market, by and large, people don't take extra money and save it. Unlike the Koch brothers or anybody who's making over a couple $100,000 a year and not living beyond their means, if they make extra money, they save it, which doesn't help the economy at all. So, number one, that's happening with the economy. And that's why, in my opinion. Number two, we'll see, just a bunch of things here I wanted to share with you. We'll see where this election goes. The senator-elect from Oklahoma, the old senator from Oklahoma, the existing senator, who was not up for re-election, James Inhofe, he's going to become, he's the guy who wrote the book on the hoax of climate change and how these climate scientists are just, they made this thing up so that they could get more government grants because they're so greedy. The oil executives are not greedy, right? The oil industry would never lie to us. They certainly would never lie to Jim Inhofe. They would never allow him to make a fool of himself by writing a book based on lies, right? Well, this is what Jim Inhofe apparently believes. And in fact, in his book, he talks about how, God said in Genesis, I'm creating this world. It's for you. As long as it's around, you're around. And he says, God's still on his throne. Things are going to be fine. Don't worry. Be happy. Pump that oil. Let the Koch brothers make more money. Right. So the new Oklahoma senator is a guy named James Lankford, another Republican. And he's going to defeat the national debt using a biblical worldview. Isn't that great? These are, there's a great little roundup piece over at Huffington Post today by Nicholas Wing, about the whack jobs who just got elected to Congress. Republican Jody Hice of Georgia, for example. He says Islam is not a real religion, and therefore Muslims in the United States don't deserve First Amendment protections. Right? Right. He says abortion is worse than Hitler's 6 million Jews or Mussolini's 300,000. He says the gay community is trying to seduce and sodomize your children. He supports nullification. He wants to relitigate the Civil War. He says women should ask their husbands for permission to enter politics. This guy just got elected. That's one guy. The next is Ryan Zink. Former Navy SEAL of Montana, handily won a seat. He has referred to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton as the Antichrist. Right. He led an anti-Obama super PAC. He said the president, quote, conveniently took credit for killing Osama bin Laden for political gain. Right. Glenn Grothman, Wisconsin Republican. He says, what do we need weekends for? It's a little ridiculous that Wisconsin had laws against a 7-day work week. And he says women get paid less because money's more important for men. He says teachers should be banned from discussing homosexuality because it could turn kids gay. That people on food stamps eat too well, and Planned Parenthood is the most overtly racist organization in America. Michael Peroutka was just elected as a Republican in Maryland. Amazing. He calls the LGBT death style and says they want to recruit your children. I mean, it just goes on and on. There's this long list of these crazies. Well, we'll continue with this right after this. Stick around, and then we'll pick up your calls.